Councilman Benz, Councilman Cook,
Here,
Councilman Tenen.
we do have a quorum. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sir, would you mind taking your hat off? Please, thank you. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Tonight's bills total, hold on to your hat, $1,171,202.76. So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilman Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilman Templeton,
Yes.
Councilman Collier,
Yes.
Councilman Benz,
Yes.
Councilman Tenen,
Yeah.
Councilman Dennis.
Yes. Motion passes. The consent agenda is passed. Remarks of visitors.
We have none, sir.
I would like to present you with this plaque in appreciation for your dedicated and faithful service to the city of Festus, 2020 to 2024. We would like to administer the oath of office to our firefighters. Chief? You
You want
want
to
to?
bring him up?
Stand by the podium. Well,
Well, they got to read the oath, yeah. Then they can get their picture. Okay, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and then state your name,
I, Andrew Stinson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess
that I possess
all the qualifications
all the qualifications
for the office of firefighter
for the office of firefighter
as prescribed by law,
as prescribed by law,
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and of the state of Missouri,
and of the state of Missouri,
the provisions of all laws
the provisions of all
of this state
of this state
affecting cities of this class
affecting cities of this class
and the ordinances of
and the ordinances of
the city of Festus, Missouri,
the city of Festus, Missouri,
and faithfully demean myself
faithfully demean myself
in office,
in office,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Come on, pin your badge and then you go. Pin your badge.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to shout out to anyone.
Pass this down to Matt, please. Thank you.
Thank you. So you get up there.
I'm sure.
That's a letter.
Yeah, it's a card, I think.
That's construction.
Yeah, it's a card.
Okay. You have-
I don't have it. I think he's got the. Just ask if somebody's here representing the Tanglefoot Association.
That is all. Paid for. 9 plus 2. 9, well, actually. 3 per shift. So we've got open slides.
Thank you, Chief. I only got one question for you. Who's manning the firehouse right now?
We left Bradley in charge.
Okay. Is there anyone here from the Tanglefoot Association?
You want to read that letter? That your card?
I don't have it.
Okay.
He was gonna bring it, so I guess he'll come next time, maybe.
Okay. On to bids.
We're moving right along to bids. First bid we have is for 4 iPads.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Requesting the approval for 4 tablets for our department. The city upgraded the software, as you all know, this a couple months ago. That's allows us to do all of our record keeping as well as reports and et cetera from the field. BSA recommended we use iPads for this, and / gave the recommendation to use Verizon for the purchase, since they are our cellular service at this time. I provided 4 quotes, and Verizon actually came in the lowest at just under 5,200, and the budget for last year was approved for 9,000. Happy to answer any questions.
I don't see on here for the cases, the keyboard cases, is that included? Because those
It-
are gonna run you about 150 a piece. at a
Correct.
minimum.
Yep, that is not included on there, but we'll probably order those just straight from Amazon.
I have one, definitely, that and a good screensaver.
Yeah, thank you. Yep, we will be getting cases.
Is there any other discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the bid by Verizon Wireless for $5,199.96 for 4 iPads.
So
moved. Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilman Tenon,
Yes.
Councilman Dennis,
Yes.
Councilman Benz,
Yes.
Councilman Templeton,
Yes,
Councilman Collier,
Yes.
Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Cook.
Yep. Motion passes.
All right, thank you all very much.
Next thing on the agenda is the Purple Wave sale of surplus vehicles and equipment. Can I have a staff report, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, for your consideration this evening is our annual or sometimes semi-annual Purple Wave auction. This is for the dispensation or the sale of surplus tools, equipment, and vehicles. Last time we did this in 2022, we made $218,150. I am going to guess we're going to hit that number probably again this year. This will be the first of 2 auctions. My predecessor will bring you that second auction announcement request, but for right now, the list is attached. The bids are up and online and going. There's been a lot of attention for it. I think we'll have a very successful sale again this year. I'm happy to take any questions that you may have.
Is there any discussion?
So that money just goes into the general fund, or do we earmark it for anything, or we have
Last year,
anything?
Kevin,
Yeah.
you recall, we pulled about 180,000 out of the proceeds that we put towards street improvements last year.
Right.
The balance of that did go to just reserve funding on the public works side.
Right. Any thoughts for this money?
No, sir.
Okay, fair enough.
Don't want to count my chickens.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the sale of the surplus vehicles and equipment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
All
All
right.
those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. Next for bids from the fire department, we have bunk room furniture.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. I come before you tonight to ask for authorization to purchase some nightstands and wardrobes for the firefighters. With the addition of new firefighters, they have currently nowhere to put their spare uniforms or their bedding. So we need to add the additional equipment. I also asked, since currently the current 3 firefighters are using old metal gym lockers, to make the bunk room more presentable and give them a little bit more room to put their uniforms and stuff like that. I'd like to purchase 6 of them and then 3 of the nightstands, because they already have the nightstands. So we anticipated this when we were hiring. We anticipated having to extend the bunk room and buy this additional furniture. So we had put this in our budget under the other capital improvement category 5999. So it was an anticipated bill. The total cost is $1,296 for the nightstands and $4,476 for the wardrobes and $1,296 for a total of $5,772. So the recommendation of the administration is that we purchase them so they have a good place to store their personal items in the firehouse.
Any discussion?
That's real nice stuff. That's what we had at JPAD, and doesn't that come from one of the state entities that makes it, Chief?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we would like to go through Missouri Vocational Enterprises to purchase this. This is actually the same bed furniture or bunk room furniture that the 3 captains have currently. So
Nice stuff. Nice stuff.
Is there any other discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the purchase of 6 single wardrobes and 3 nightstands for a total of $5,772 from Missouri Vocational Enterprises.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilman Cook,
Yep.
Councilman Boyer,
Yes.
Councilman Weiner,
Yes.
Councilman Templeton,
Yes.
Councilman Benz,
Yes.
Councilman Collier,
Yes.
Councilman Tennant.
Yep.
Councilman Dennis.
Yes, ma'am.
Motion is passed. Go ahead and buy your equipment, chief.
Thank you.
Next thing we have is the sale of the 1999 Pierce pumper.
Stay up. Save your trip.
Yeah, that's right. I bring before you, or come before you to ask for authorization to sell our 1999 Pierce pumper. As you know, back in the spring, or actually July, we put our new Rosenbauer in service. At the time, the administration thought that we should keep this pumper as a reserve just in case there was any issues with the new truck. There hasn't been any major issues with the new truck. There's been some minor things. As we were making the repairs and that to the truck, we were just dropping down and using the 6610, the other pumper, and we never truly took this out of reserve and put it back in service. We felt that the ongoing costs of maintenance and insurance and stuff like that, it warrants to get rid of it because we just, it's not serving a purpose for us now. The other thing is, unfortunately, it's been over in Public Works and it's taken away some garage space that they could probably put some equipment in the winter. So it's a recommendation of the administration that we sell the 1999 Pierce pumper. We were asked to try to put it on Purple Wave, but we felt with no reserve, we would like to try to get fair market value for the truck. And we were afraid if we put it on the bidding site that we may not get fair market value for it. So our recommendation is that we go through either one or multiple fire truck brokers. By going through the brokers, there's no upfront costs. It's a percentage off the sales. Once you sell the truck, they get a percentage of the sale, and that's how they make their money. So as long as it sets up there, there's no cost. They do the advertising and that kind of stuff. Plus, they will help us determine what the fair market value is for that pumper so that we get the most for the money that we can out of that reserve pumper.
Hey, Greg, sorry, I should know this, but when we sell a surplus equipment from the fire department, that stays in their budget though, right? So they can.
Correct.
So I just want to make sure it stays in their budget.
Chief, what is that percentage? Thank you.
It varies. I'll have to find out when we decide on a broker. I think the last one that I was involved in, we sold, I think it was like 8%. But it varies. They're all about the same within a percent or two of them, but it's like 8 or 9%. But I would find that out before we sign with one of those.
Chief, is there any other departments that are needing a pumper? I know in the past, we've done our best to try to be good neighbors to local departments that may be in the need of a truck that just can't afford it.
The ones that I know that we're looking at them, we don't have big enough water tank in our truck. They're more rural departments and they're looking for bigger tanks, 1,000 gallons or more on the truck.
Right.
Unfortunately, our pumper does not carry that type of water. So the ones I did reach out to, they're not interested in it. Now we can go farther down because I know there's a lot of departments in southern Missouri that are really hurting. But they're hurting so bad and I'd entertain that if you so wish, but they're probably looking for more of a donation because they're departments that they're just not surviving.
I just think, kind of our immediate neighbors, and you've already done what I think is more than reasonable, sir. So.
Just what type of ballpark are we talking about?
I'll punt that to Brian back there in the back. Captain Schlichting is in charge of our fleet and he probably has a better handle on.
So as of right now, I've talked to Brindley Mountain and then Fenton Fire, not Fenton, Missouri, but it's a company called Fenton Fire Apparatus. They'll be charging 10%, around 10% is the going rate right now for it. They're looking, I just sent off all the pictures and the VIN number. I'm saying probably at least $10,000 or more is what I'm hoping to get for it. Now, but you never know with the market the way it is now. I mean, my aspects, the way we had it, is one of our best trucks that we've had, that we've made in the past. We rebuilt the engine in it not too long ago. We had dual pass pump test, which is a big thing for fire apparatuses. It just went through a DOT, what we call a DOT inspection in a way, passed all that. So that's one thing that we have going for the truck. So we're gonna shoot for at least $10,000 to $15,000 on it.
There'd be architect plans for a new firehouse, Greg.
If we had a place to put it.
We did have our last truck, which was 6615, which was the ladder truck that we sold. Yeah, we wound up getting 60,000 to a New York company. They went up taking that truck and refurbishing the whole truck. We went through Fenton Fire Apparatus on that one. At that time, they took 8% on that one. It was a ladder truck, which is a desirable truck. Like the chief said, the biggest thing is we only have 750 gallons on it, since we are a city that has adequate water to supply. I think that's a downfall on it. If we would have 1,000 gallons on it, I think it would be able to go to a neighbor. I think we would have offered it to a neighbor and they would have took it right away. But unfortunately, 750 gallons is all we need around here.
Is there any other discussion? I'll entertain a motion to approve to let the chief sell the 1999 Pierce pumper.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. Go ahead and put it up for sale.
All right, thank you.
Tonight, under ordinances and resolutions, we have Bill 4759. Would the clerk please read Bill 4759 for the first time?
Bill number 4759, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to enter into and execute an engineer-owner agreement with Burns and McDonnell Engineering Company, incorporating for Edgewood Water Main Replacement, incorporating said proposal as part of this ordinance and establishing an effective date.
Can I have a staff report, please?
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. I did want to bring you, I got an update this afternoon, actually, from Stephen Thompson, who is heading up the design team with Burns and McDonnell. The basic field topographic surveying, if you look on the map in your packets, it's broken into two different colors. There's yellow and there's orange. We're focusing primarily on the yellow area, which is the areas that we've been having the most problems with. And we needed to limit the linear footage being surveyed in order to be able to get a design plan in front of DNR so we could have something act on quickly. This plan has been reviewed. We did have a sit down last week, myself, Zach, Shane, Matt, with the design team. We did see that there was the stub on Hemlock and a section of Cypress that was not included in the original proposed survey area, excuse me, that was added. And that is being wrapped up as we speak. This coming week, the surveyor will be drafting the topographic work. They also start property line work as well. They intend to get us the topographic drawing by Tuesday, the 20th. And that will serve as our design for the permitting set that we'll have to forward to DNR. They'll also be pushing to deliver the combined topographic right-of-way property line file to us by the 26th. And that'll be the basis of our design set, basically moving from there. What I wanted to talk about tonight, in addition to having permission to execute the agreements that are here with the ordinance, a discussion about how we should execute the orange areas. Stephen pointed out to me there was an economy of scale to have them serve everything now, but it would take longer for them to get to the design phase. We can proceed with the additional streets within the Edgewood Edgewood neighborhood. It would limit our mobilization cost, but we would need to make a decision by the 23rd of this month. Again, as I had mentioned, knowing that it was a priority, and we had to stay basically under that 5,000 linear foot number, in order to get the design work done so we could have something to act on quickly. That is why we broke it into these two pieces. The surveyors can do the additional work. If we were to circle back with them, there'll be some additional cost. We circle back with them before the 23rd of this month, and we could probably save ourselves a little money on the mobilization.
Hey, Greg, if we do the linear survey on the green and our DNR permit gets issued, correct me if I'm wrong, wouldn't the orange then fall under a maintenance permit and we wouldn't really need a DNR separate permit then? Because it'd all be under one scope of
And
work.
we're not going for a maintenance permit. We don't have a maintenance permit, and we'll need to get a specific design permit, but we can get the ball rolling on that with the initial, with 90% plans on the green or the yellow. And then come back and get the rest of it on the orange. We don't have one. Yeah.
Isn't the option still to renew it since the?
Yeah, no, yes, the SOP, the intent is to eventually get ourselves to a point where we have that and we can do wholesale water main replacement under that 5-year permit. But the intent is to get the 90% plans in front of DNR as quickly as early March, so that we can get the permit turned back around and get a contractor in here to get the work started. So I am pressing a little bit here by saying that we can save ourselves a few dollars on mobilization costs and add the additional design work now. Or we can just say, we'll do the additional design work when we want to do it, or don't do it at all and put it under the SOP permit. I think that's what you're going for.
Grip it, let's get this crap done. That's I think.
Yeah, pardon me. I would say anything that would delay this without making as much haste as we can to get this finished would be the route that I would suggest going.
I can have Stephen with Burns and McDonnell get a cost estimate back to me and have something for council at our next meeting. It would be another agreement similar to what you see attached here for the work so everything that is in the ordinance is everything that's in the yellow, and that's everything we need to get rolling on this. And that's why they were able to turn it around so fast, is because we did limit some of the scope. But we can certainly, before the surveyors leave town, engage with them and say, we'll take the additional cost, give us the additional cost to do the rest of it. And then when we want, we can certainly circle back. I think once we have a contractor on site, it'll be very easy to add the additional work to the project as well.
Do you want us to amend the ordinance to put what you're wanting in there? Because as far as I'm concerned, what you recommend is what we need to get, because you're pretty on top of it.
Well, Kevin, I appreciate that. The task order from Burns and Mac is not in there for the additional work, so I would be uncomfortable.
Okay.
With until you have the task order in hand, for you to give me consent. I mean, I'm not going to do anything crazy. Obviously, when the order shows up, I'm going to sign it and turn it right back around.
Right.
So I think if we approve what's presented here, and then we'll make quick work of having an updated. I'll tell Stephen tomorrow, so that gives him plenty of time to get the task order to me, and you guys will have something to review. And if the numbers are crazy, then we'll think of something else.
All right. Well done. Thank you.
All righty. Is there any other discussion? Is there any council member that would like this bill carried forward to the next meeting? Hearing none, Do I have a motion to suspend the rules and read Bill 4759 for the second time in title only?
So moved.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, would you please read Bill 4759 for the second time?
Bill number 4759, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to enter into and execute an engineer-owner agreement with Burns and McDonnell Engineering Company Incorporated for Edgewood Water Main Replacement, incorporating said proposal as part of this ordinance and establishing an effective date. Councilman Collier.
Yes.
Councilman Tenon.
Yep.
Councilman Dennis.
Yes.
Councilman Benz.
Yes.
Councilman Templeton.
Yes.
Councilman Cook.
Yep.
Councilman Boyer.
Yes.
Councilman Weiner.
Yes.
Bill 4759 has passed. We have Bill 4760 on the agenda. Would the clerk please read this bill for the first time?
Bill number 4760, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, enacting section 510.105 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Festus, Missouri, regarding hours of occupation for city-owned property, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and establishing an effective date.
Bill 4760 is now open for discussion. Can I have a staff report?
I would defer to Mr. Malone.
Yes, we were requested to prepare this ordinance that would establish hours of operation essentially for all city-owned property. That is, for instance, city parks, the library, any other city-owned parcels, and would provide that it's an ordinance violation to be on the property after those hours. It does provide that before anyone's to be given a citation or to be arrested or anything like that, person is to be offered an opportunity to relocate. And if they fail to or refuse to do so, then they're potentially subject to being cited and or arrested. There's also a provision in there for that if it is apparent to the officer that the person is homeless or has no place to go, that they're to be given a list of available resources and shelters in the area to which they can be to which they can have some shelter.
Is there any discussion?
So on my level, this gives us teeth now finally, correct, Greg? Perfect. So thank you.
Quick question. On US government property, like the post office, for instance, does this hold any jurisdiction?
So the ordinance as written only applies to city-owned property. There may be, if they're state or federally owned property, they may have their own restrictions. And if obviously someone's there that isn't supposed to be there, the property owner can notify the city. And in theory, a person who's there without permission would be trespassing and could be cited for violating the city's ordinance prohibiting trespassing.
Okay, my bald head's thinking, I'm a MoDOT's right away, but I'm in the city limits. That's been a hot point.
Mhm.
Got my tent up. Tell me we can't do anything?
If it's MoDOT right of way, it's not city-owned property, so that's not subject to this particular ordinance. That is something we could cover in a separate ordinance or something like that. What we had in mind here is essentially city-owned parcels, city-owned land. There is also, I should mention, a carve-out because we can't. You probably wouldn't want to say you can't be on city streets or city sidewalks after hours because there could be all number of reasons why someone might be on the sidewalks or driving after hours. So long as they're not obstructing the rights of way that are city owned, they're not in violation of anything. But if they're obstructing the rights of way, that's already an offense under the city's code.
So let me ask you a question, and I don't want to prolong this, so if we need to come back, we can, but
Mhm.
I have to pull a building permit for pretty much anything, Mark, that requires living, but I can throw a tent up, and if I'm in the city limits, but I'm on the library, or excuse me, the post office or MoDOT's property, the way I'm understanding you is we can't do anything, but yet if I do something to my residents and I don't have a permit, this is where I'm having a hard time, Brian, wrap my head around.
Mhm.
Those who obey the rules and regulations, we get creamed. And those who don't, we just throw our hands up and say, well, we try, we're limited. I have a hard time buying into that. And this is where I get aggravated. So if you need to research this, please, because this has been a point of contention for me for quite a while.
Sure. what I can tell you, as far as whether you need a building permit, I mean, to erect a tent, obviously, that's not necessarily going to involve the kind of technical or safety requirements that would invoke the need for a building permit. You certainly can't do it on land that you don't own or control. And I think a person that is erecting a tent on land that they don't own or don't have permission to be on is probably already in violation of other existing city ordinances, for instance, trespassing. Specific to the example about MoDOT owned land, I just don't know what MoDOT's policy is on that, because usually if you're going to cite somebody for instance, trespassing, part of proving that offense in court is that they don't have the permission of the property owner to be there. And usually we prove that by the property owner calling the police saying someone's on my property and they won't leave. With MoDOT, you know, I don't know if they just have a hands-off policy with that. I'd have to do a little bit more research to see what their approach is, but I'm sure that someone doesn't have permission to be there to camp on MoDOT right away.
But let me take it a step farther. Mark, if I'm living, I own a parcel in the city limits, my house burns down. I can't just throw a tent up and have my family. That's my point. That's where I have a hard time with all of this, because the building codes will come after me, DD will come after me. But when citizens call, and our answer always is, well, if they're in city property, we can do something now, but while they're on here, there's nothing we can do. I don't understand how we can have rules for some inside the city, but not rules for all. So like he just said, so I can't live on a parcel, my property, a tent, but somebody can live on a parcel on Highway A inside the city of Festus and can legally do it. We think our hands are tied. That doesn't make logic sense to me.
Sure. And I would say I'm happy to look at whether or not we could expand this to include MoDOT property as well. Sure. I think the issue with, you know, say your own property or something like that, if whether you're going to set up a tent on land that you own, that just invokes a different set of legal issues than camping or residing on land that someone doesn't own. That's more of a property right issue than I guess what you can do on your own property. Whether or not you're restricted from erecting a tent on your own property is more to do with probably more city property maintenance codes and city building and residential codes versus you know, we're more in the law of trespassing and using public land for purposes other than what it was intended with this ordinance. Yeah,
So I let my neighbor's house burn down, moving my property. I'm giving permission to camp. I'm back in square one. Mark, you'll come after my neighbors, you can't.
Yeah, because it's an abatement issue at that point. Yeah. It is a different set of rules.
Mhm.
So-
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and we'll look and see if we can't give this a little more teeth to something outside of city-owned property. We certainly know we can regulate time and place as far as city-owned property is concerned. That's well within the council's purview, and that was the intent behind this here.
I get the intent behind it, but the two questions, and this is to the police chief.
Sorry.
Our police chief is, somebody's on property, they're not supposed to be there. What is the penalty? Infraction, right?
It's an ordinance violation, yes.
Right?
So
So the list of these, this list here of these crisis shelters, are we providing transportation? Because these are 103, 63, 106, 63, and I get it's a symptom of a bigger problem that we have. But Mike's looking at it from the point of, these are people who have an address who are going to care that they have a ticket. But in the reality, we don't have a place for people to go. So we have pieces and parts that are coming into alignment, but until we have a place to deal with it on a bigger scale, I just don't know.
I think some good news for us from a community perspective is that Compass is wanting to have that 24-hour crisis intervention center there up next to the firehouse. So that would be at least a place where someone could go and perhaps receive additional assistance. And that would be outside of our zip code, perhaps.
I think it's a start to a bigger problem.
Right, and I just don't want to create a bigger issue for our police department to try to find a place. And eventually, PD is, or fire department as well as JPAD or anybody else, because we keep trying to apply rational thought to situations that are so far from rational that I'm glad that we start to have a place for it, but I just don't want to see that I don't know. It's hard to tell people there's nothing we can do because these same people keep coming back because they have no other place to go. So until we have other pieces, and it's not just us. I mean, every community has that same problem of how do you help?
Can I ask one question? This doesn't tie us to having to find them a location. It just requires us to provide them with information of where they can go, correct?
That's correct. And I think we deliberately didn't get into that in the ordinance because I think that's more of a policy question. It deals with what amount of resources you guys have. If you decided you wanted to, I suppose that you could, but there are a number of other policy considerations in doing so. So I don't think that's appropriate to put in the ordinance.
It kind of sounds to me like this is probably what we're doing now, a solution that you need to move on. And then we have a list, but that's all we can do at this point. But like I said, I think it's a good start to a big problem we're just going to keep picking away at.
Is there any other discussion?
Mike? Hey, Steve, Mike.
Well, all the officers have copies of this here crisis center and.
Yeah,
all
we'll make sure all of our officers are given copies of that crisis center location so they can keep in their patrol cars. When they come across somebody, they'll have them to hand out.
Okay.
Is there any other discussion? Is there any councilman that wants this bill forwarded to the next meeting? Hearing none. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules and read Bill 4760 for the second time in title only?
So moved.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please. Or I'm sorry. Would the clerk please read Bill 4760 for the second time?
Bill number 4760, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Festus, Missouri, enacting section 510.105 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Festus, Missouri, regarding hours of occupation for city-owned property, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and establishing an effective date. Councilman Cook.
Yes.
Councilman Boyer.
Yes.
Councilman Weiner. Councilman Dennis.
Yes.
Councilman Tenen.
Yep.
Councilman Collier.
Yes.
Councilman Benz.
Yes.
Councilman Templeton.
Yes.
Bill 4760 has passed. Moving right along, we have a liquor license request for Crispy Edges Eats and Shakes.
In your package, you'll find the liquor license application for Crispy Edges, which will be located at the corner of Collins and A. They are not ready to open yet. Mark, do they have a date yet?
I actually spoke with Mr. Jacobs last week. They don't have a date. They're just now ready for rough end wall inspections.
Okay, but they wanted to go ahead and apply for their liquor license and get it approved. They will not be issued it until they get their occupancy from Mark. But they already have their state liquor license, so they just want to get everything ready for when they are ready to open.
Chief, do you have any problems with it?
No issues.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the liquor license for Crispy Edge Eats and Shakes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. Next thing we have is the 2024 road block requests.
In your packet, you should have gotten a list of the requests to have a roadblock for 2024. They're the same as they were last year. Is there anybody have any questions about it?
Gary, didn't we have a few more? I just heard you say.
That's all the
last year.
applications we've gotten in
So
as of
far
right
this
now.
year.
Yeah.
So it seemed like last year there was only maybe 1 month when we had no one there. I'm just wondering if we could maybe look those up from last year and see who hasn't asked to be there this year. Maybe it was an oversight and
Okay.
check it out and see.
We've heard
that might
from
happen.
Leah, do you know?
So haven't heard back from DFW. I did send them the application and then,
Okay.
that would fill that last slot and then there's still an open one.
Okay. Okay, if you wouldn't mind doing that, I appreciate it. I think that everyone there is doing their best to try to raise money for worthwhile causes. So if they're not there just because of some oversight, if they're reminded, that would be nice. Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the 2024 roadblock request.
So moved.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, motion carries. Then we also have a festival request by the Historic Tanglefoot Association for June 23rd, 2024.
I don't have any other information other than what's on their application.
The only thing that's on their application is that the streets would be barricaded. Main Street from Mill to Briarton and the side streets loading into this area. All adjoining business owners will be notified. There'll be no alcohol sold. There'll be no picnic license request, no caterers request. Do we have any other information about this?
Pardon me, all I can say, I haven't been to any meetings lately, but when the association asks for something, they normally have something larger planned. And I don't mean in the sense of, bands or anything like that. It could possibly be maybe a ladies' night out shopping. It could be something very similar to that. And it's on a Sunday also. So there wouldn't be any obstruction to storefronts or anything on that line. So just with a little bit of data that I have in front of me, I would think that it would be, we can delay it. It would be something it would be something that they would not be asking for if it were not something good to do.
Okay.
Isn't it a church down there on Main Street too? And I'm not comfortable voting for something. I have no idea what it is. I'm not against anything, but I'm not gonna vote for against what they want it for. It makes it.
I think that's a really fair statement, Kevin. So
Could we tentatively
Sure.
approve it with a little more information?
Let's just have Carrie get a hold of these people and find out more information, and we can bring this up again at our next meeting on the 26th. Still got lots of time. Okay. Any old business?
No, sir.
Any new business?
No, sir.
Councilman Boyer.
Seems our pickleball park over there is coming along pretty good. I go by it every day and it's looking like they're getting a lot of progress done, and that ought to be real nice for the pickleball players. Matt, good luck on your new job. Pleasure meeting you. You want to get some brownie points, guys, this Wednesday is Valentine's Day. Don't forget about your spouse. That's all I have, sir.
All right, thank you.
That's a public service announcement.
Councilman Weiner.
First of all, I'd like to thank Councilman Boyer for the reminder of Valentine's Day coming up. I think that's appreciated by everyone here. Just a few ideas perhaps that I don't know if other people have thought about it, something to throw around. But Councilman Cook, I believe it was Mike's idea, so I'm not going to take credit for this, but one of the things that we had discussed was freezing property taxes for senior citizens. And, when you're on a fixed income and inflation is what it is, and expenses keep going up and income is static, are negative in the sense that you're not being able to keep up with inflation. I think it's something that you can see what a healthy city we are. And I think it's perhaps time to look at our seniors and have some compassion for them and see if that might be something that we might want to do. So that's one idea. With our over at Public Works with the water, sewer, garbage that we pay over there. And I know that other utilities do charge, some don't charge, but we're charging, is it 3%, Greg?
I don't know the exact, what's the point and pay percentage for processing?
Yeah, 3%. So, I mean, it's not like-
$2 or 3%, whichever is greater.
Excuse me?
$2 or 3%, whichever is greater.
Okay, okay. So, I can certainly understand there's a cost associated with that. But, you know, it's like our store, we absorb the 2% because, we know that we're going to get the other 98% of it. With the city, if we would have credit cards taken, perhaps people wouldn't have to have their water shut off because they'd be paying with a credit card. I don't know. But I think it's something that because we're where we are, we're trying to be a more progressive city, that I think it's something that we should consider. And then finally, just one thing, Greg, on Mid Meadow, when we do our work over there, I know last time we had a little issue with the schools. Well, at least from what I read, it was like they were shutting down on a Thursday and they said they were notified or understood that it was happening like on a Monday or Tuesday. There was just a really short time period. So are we making sure that they are notified of it this time?
I've had a couple of conversations with Dr. Roos related to the Edgewood project because the areas highlighted in orange
Yes.
is Mid Meadow. And making sure that if there's any disruption in service, that it doesn't affect the normal school day at the elementary school, but also the summer school schedule, which is something she reminded me of. So really the window we have to work with is about July, where there could be interruptions. But fortunately, the amount of time that it takes to make a tap from an old water main to a new water main, it's not multiple days. It's something that can be done in a shorter period of time. So, but I've stayed in contact with Nikki and
Yes, sir.
I
Okay.
plan to continue to do so.
Okay, thank you so much. And I think the council did right tonight too by expanding just not only from that green area, but also to the orange area, because there's been a lot of agony in that area. And any further delay, I think, would have been wrong. So I think we did right tonight by voting to progress as we are in those orange shaded areas. That's all I have, gentlemen and ladies.
Thank you, Councilman Cook.
Thank you, sir. I'd like to welcome the new firefighters. Chief, I like that. I like that ribbon pinning. I really do. That's pretty neat to be part of. So I'd like to welcome them aboard, tell them congratulations, and hope they have a long, healthy career with the city. Jumping on Brian's taxes. Brian, I know it passed, but I believe they're trying to clean the language up in the state Senate Bill 190. Can you and Greg track that? Because I would, if council has interest in pursuing this once it's cleaned up a little better. But I do think it's time to have that conversation.
Sure, absolutely. And we're working on an analysis of what the ordinance that Jefferson County passed that I expect we'll have ready for the city probably within a week or so.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. And then my last back one. Greg, will you notify us on who we should email or text at Public Works off hours if there's issues or stuff? I'm assuming you don't want all of that. So will you create a chart and kind of send it to us, hey, call this person or whatever? I'd appreciate that. And then on the fees, I think Brian's onto something, and I might create a horrible nightmare for Michelle if this passes. But since the sewer plant's been sold, why not use a portion of that to offset fees for so many years? Because I think the intent is try to improve our citizens' lives. And I know 2% doesn't sound like much, but you'd be amazed how my little bald head works. If I'm going to buy something and I got to pay a fee on something, sometimes don't even mess with it, so almost wouldn't mind having that. Mayor, can she speak?
Go ahead, Michelle.
The only thing that I would want to bring up is that the city does offer auto draft, which is free to the citizens, so that's completely free. Should you elect to not charge the 2% or 3% fee, the $2 minimum, you could be having to raise rates to cover those additional costs unless you dip into the reserve. At some point, you might have to raise rates to cover those extra costs on those citizens that do pay by credit.
Mike, typically, government agencies pass those fees along. It's a user fee. So you're paying for the right to use your credit card as opposed to an ACH withdrawal, which is completely free. You get into a situation where you're using tax funds to cover the cost of a convenience fee. And I know some people might bristle at that, where it's, well, you're going to pay Mike's convenience fee, but I don't pay one because I pay mine through my ACH on my bank account. So I don't know if there's a legal entanglement there or not, but I just know that most government agencies pass the convenience fee along.
I understand. But in my little world, we sold a city asset that's meant to better improve the citizens. So I'm open to anything. But if we can help somebody time period out, I'm also not opposed. So, but I do appreciate the explanation, and you might be onto something. So remember, I throw it against the wall. If it sticks, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So, and that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Councilman Dennis.
Yes, once again, I want to thank Matt for his service. Matt's done a lot of solid work for us. And a lot of the stuff is above and beyond the public works director. And a lot of that's just because he cares, and he's done a lot of grant work and things like that. I think that's worthy of mentioning. I'm gonna miss you, Matt. You're a good friend, and good luck to you, pal. I know you'll do well, and I hope you get a job that talents you. You're a very talented guy, and I think you'll do well. So with that said, I think we had a challenging weekend with all our departments. We had a little bit of everything. And I think we responded well to several emergency situations, you name it. I think we had it this weekend. Once again, our department's above and beyond everything we do. So I think that's worth mentioning. We have a good council, we have a good staff, and not everything can be done with the snap of the fingers. But I think we're doing and working real hard as a council and a city to try to help our citizens in every way we can. There's no bad ideas. This council proved that. Once again, I'd like to bring up something with the permission of the mayor and the city council. If we could allow the departments, I know when I worked at JPAD and retired from there, I carried a challenge coin. I'd like to give the permission or the mayor give permission for them to research a challenge coin for their departments, police, fire, public works, whatever it applies to. I think it's something to be very proud of. I know I carry mine. I keep it in high regard still. But I don't know if we have any, but, I'd like to see if the mayor would grant a permission to look into that. So, once again, thank everybody for their service, all departments. It was a challenging weekend. And once again, we met the challenge and come through again. So, with that said, I'd like to see him be able to investigate a challenge coin if you don't have a problem with the mayor, whatever the chain of command is on that. But that's all I have, sir.
All righty, thank you, Councilman Collier.
Well, I think the other council people pretty much covered everything I was going to cover. Congratulations to the new firefighters. And with that being said, that's all I have, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. Councilwoman Templeton.
Good luck, Matt. I saw your welcome post on LinkedIn today. So it's like they welcome you with open arms. So good luck to you there. Could be very challenging in a college town.
I think we'll
It'd be very interesting. Also wanted to thank both of you for being so upfront with the more of the communication out to Edgewood. I'm very glad to see that the school has been included in that, because nothing is worse than hearing a parent say that their kindergartner had no water to wash his hands. So definitely, and I think it just kind of the bigger issue is going to be as we start replacing pieces and parts, some of that's just going to keep rolling other places. So it's I mean, we've kind of pulled the cork at this point. So I'm glad to see that we're making as much progress as we possibly can. So we want people to keep coming into the city and not being afraid of our water, to say the least. So, and besides that, everybody else has said everything. So nothing else.
All right, thank you, Councilman Vins.
Good luck, Matt. Thank you. Hope it all works out for you there. Chief Wendell, how is that, tags? The people that don't pay their taxes on their vehicles. I see you guys made a bunch of stops. And, I hear that's only for a month that all the counties are doing.
Jefferson County kind of reached out to put together this thing. They are really focusing on it for the month of February. Our officers pretty much focus on it year round. We are not just going to do it for February and stop. Anytime our officers see somebody with an expired license plate, as long as they're not on the way to the call, they're stopping that vehicle anyway. That was just kind of to get the word out. Hey, we're going to start enforcing this more regularly. Not every department always enforces it as much as what we do. Like I said, we enforce it year round. I don't know if county was or not, but that was more or less trying to get the word out. Hey, get your stuff taken care of and pay your taxes like everybody else.
Oh, I know. There's a lot of, you see it all over. I just went to Chicago and back, and when you see 2-3-year-old tags, like how the hell are they doing this? But I hope it continues, like you said.
Yeah, we will as a department on our side of it. We had already prior to that started seizing the temporary tags that are more than 30 days expired. We've already started seizing them, returning those to the Department of Revenue in an attempt to try to force that person to go ahead and get their vehicle licensed properly.
Good. I was hoping it'd go longer than just the 30 days, because that's why I kept hearing all the news stations saying 30 days. That's all they're going to enforce.
That is the time frame I believe that Jefferson County is. They also did with theirs, they did an amnesty program to where they could get part of their fines reduced if they paid it within a certain amount of time. We did not approach it that way. We approached it just like we always approach it, with our normal fines and everything else. And they were offering that amnesty for the month of February. That's what they're pushing that month of February for out there.
Okay, yeah,
To the best of my knowledge.
good. I appreciate that. Other than that, that's all I have, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilman Tenen.
I'd like to welcome the new firefighters. Matt, congratulations. Does anybody know when that asphalt is going to happen with the tennis courts? We got the new season getting ready to start.
I'm still waiting for Grant to get back to the quote. So I don't think asphalt's gonna be the ticket over there, though. They're gonna have concrete and.
That's what I think
It's gonna work.
Can we?
So he's gonna bid it both ways for us.
Okay.
So, but I'm just waiting to him. I'll reach out to him and get him on.
Okay.
See if he can get us a price.
The other thing is, I think it would be impossible for somebody to say that, Festus doesn't have a whole lot going on, because anywhere you drive in Festus right now, there is something going on. And I'm talking about work, taking care of the roads, water pipes, everything you can imagine. And also, Doug, I like the police cars. They look great. I thought they were stickers, and it's actually a wrap on the side.
It's actually, yes, both the front and the rear door. It's a complete wrap on the front and the rear door.
Yeah, I was checking that out. I
And
like
thank
it.
you.
Looks good. Good job. That's all I have. Thank you.
All righty, thank you.
Sorry to jump in here, but and I probably should have mentioned this under old business or new business, but I did not. My apologies. I don't know if you've noticed our neighbor at 657 West Main Street. That home has fallen into the ownership of a bank out of the state of Oregon. If council is agreeable, we would like to approach the agent about that and inquire about cost and whether they'd be willing to sell it to the city. Obviously, we've always been very tight on parking space here. And it's a rare opportunity to acquire some additional space. And it's 7/10 of an acre with the home there. The home is in pretty extreme disrepair. So I think perhaps a demolition and a parking lot might be a welcome addition, but also give City Hall and the police department some additional room to work. If council's agreeable, that we would maybe start the ball rolling, reach out to them and see what we can come up with. I'm seeing nodding heads, so I will proceed and talk to the agent.
Well, here's the thing, I brought this up to Greg myself. At some point in time, this city hall is gonna have to expand. And we have no way to expand except that direction. And here we have the opportunity to get a hold of that property. And I can only look back on the experience that I had at JPAD when we bought a piece of ground out in Mappaville to have a station, and we held on to it for almost 8 years, wasn't it, Kevin? We held on to it for almost 8 years until Mappaville Fire Department came and talked to us and said, hey, let's do a joint thing. And we did, and got the federal government to pay for it, which was great. But but we had the piece of property. And I think this is the same way here. If we need to expand City Hall 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I mean, you all are always talking about what we can do to further the future of Festus. Well, if we need to do that, we'll have a piece of property that we can do that. So we're gonna look into it. I'm glad you all kind of agree with that.
That would be the airport funds, extra money we'd be using, wouldn't we?
Yeah, that's,
It council's discretion.
That's what we did.
We haven't agreed to any.
Well, I know, but
Price or negotiations. You've just granted me permission to reach out.
good.
But we got the money if we need it.
yes, we do. And the other thing that I have real quickly, I have tickets for the Cultural Diversity Committee luncheon on the 24th of February it starts at 11. So if you want tickets, let me know. I'll give them to you. The city bought a table. So that it is at the Corpus Christi Center, which is the Catholic Church up there, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, St. Joseph Catholic Church. So anyway, I got the tickets if you want them. Please let me know. 2? Okay. Okay, and I'll take 2. Is there any other discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. This meeting is adjourned.